So in previous video, we talked about diminishing marginal utility, and we know the relationship between the marginal utility and the total utility. When the marginal utility is larger than zero, we are expected the total utility will increase. If the marginal utility become negative, the total utility will decrease. If the marginal utility equal to zero, and we will reach to the maximized utility. So try to remember in chapter 2, we talk about the 4 participants on the market. We mentioned and we talk about different goals for different participants. So one of the most important participants is called consumer. So the goal for the consumer is trying to maximize their utility or try to maximize their satisfaction and happiness. So that's why in this chapter we learn the consumer's choices. We focus on learn the consumer's utility. And now we see the total. So now I want to ask you a question. Now we're only considering the relationship between the consumption and the happiness. Now, if you were the person who started to buy the popcorn, how much money do you want to buy for the first box of popcorn? And how much do you want to pay for the second box of the popcorn? And how much do you want to pay for the third box of popcorn? And how about the fifth? And how about the sixth? Yeah, obviously, for the first 5 boxes of the popcorn, you want to pay the money, but the amount of the money is keep decreasing, right? Because for the first box, because you feel so hungry, and no matter what, you want to get it to relieve the feeling of hungry. And for the second, maybe you say, you want to bargain. You want to bargain with the seller. Can reduce the price because you already feel happy after consume the first box, and you will feel not as hungry as before. And when you finish the fifth popcorn, if the fifth box of popcorn, if the seller will say, "Would you mind to buy the sixth?" You will say, "No, I'm full." But instead of buying it, you probably say, "If you really want me to take the sixth, maybe you can give to me or give me money." And so you can see as the marginal utility decrease, your willingness to pay is decrease. So that's generate the relationship between the price and the quantity. So the more marginal utility a product delivers, the more we are willing to pay for it, and vice versa. As marginal utility diminished, we buy additional quantity only if the price decreases. So now try to remember what we saw before for the demand curve. So as the price goes up, the quantity demanded is going down, and we call it the law of demand. And before we just, based on our intuition, we know the price goes up, we definitely want to go down, or we definitely want to decrease our demand. But in this chapter, we finally find the reason why that inverse relationship exists between the price and the quantity. The law of the demand states that the quantity of the good demanded in the given time period increase as its price falls. So now you know why. Because the higher price represents your willingness to pay. So since as you increase in consumption, your marginal utility decrease, so your willingness to pay is decrease, and consequently the price will start to decrease. So now you know the relationship between the price and the quantity is inverse, is because of the underlying, is because of the marginal utility decreasing. Now you can look at this demand curve. So the demand curve slope downward because of the diminishing marginal utility. Now we know why it's downward. Before we just try to interpret it based on our intuition. So in order to justify buying more, the price must be lower. So at the point, if the market price 25 cents, the consumer buy 12 ounce. So we can see the point F. And however, if the price goes to go up to 30 cents, so you can find correspondingly the demand will decrease to about 9 ounce. So as the quantity decrease, the price as the quantity decreases, the price will goes up. So the market next now after we know the individual demand, we need to know what is market demand. So in one market, for instance, let's talk about the ice cream market. So they are facing many different consumers. How can we figure out the market demand for the ice cream? So what we do is to sum of all our individual demand for a product. So its characteristics are the same as the individual's demand curve, except that the number are much larger. And it expresses the collective willingness and ability to pay, not just that of one person. So before that, we just talk about individual demand. We know the demand curve should tell us the maximum, the willingness to pay for one individual. Now we talk about market demand. We need to sum all of the individuals' willingness to pay together under a certain price.